Weaver ants are the maestros of the insect world. Without needles, without a blueprint, without a set design, they create something extraordinary. A living nest sewn from fresh green leaves, woven together with threads of life. Weaver ants are arboreal creatures, meaning they live and build high in the trees. Uniquely, they do not make their nests from twigs or sand, but from living green leaves still attached to the branches. This choice is far from random. They know that green leaves are more flexible, easier to fold, and resistant to water and wind. They do not decay quickly like dead organic matter. For this reason, weaver ants usually select young to medium-aged leaves, not too stiff, yet strong enough to support the weight of the nest and colony. The process of building a weaver ant nest is a masterpiece of high-level collaboration. First, the worker ants scout for a strategic location, typically a branch with many pliable leaves, sheltered from direct rain and far from the reach of predators. Once the perfect site is chosen, dozens, even hundreds of weaver ants spread out toward the edges of the leaves. They then pull the leaf edges toward a chosen direction, bending them by force until two or more leaves meet. Astonishingly, during this process, the ants link together, gripping with their jaws and legs, forming a living chain that can stretch several centimeters long. With this collective strength, even large leaves can be folded like living origami. But the most remarkable stage of their construction is when they begin sewing the leaves together, using their larvae. At this point, adult ants carry the undeveloped larvae, still in the stage before metamorphosis, to the edges of the leaves they wish to join. The larva is rubbed against the surface of the leaf by the adult ant, releasing a sticky, silk-like liquid, a protein thread that dries quickly. This is the material used to stitch together the two leaf surfaces. A single larva can sew multiple times before running out of thread. When that happens, the ant replaces it with another larva, and the process continues until the entire edge of the leaves is joined perfectly. Scientific studies have shown that the leaf joints created by weaver ants possess extraordinary strength, even far surpassing leaf bonds glued artificially by humans. This is because the adhesive from weaver ant larvae is a natural protein that dries quickly, remains flexible, and is waterproof. The woven structure also accounts for airflow and lighting. Weaver ants do not completely seal the entire leaf surface, but leave small gaps in certain areas, just large enough to allow air exchange and humidity control, yet too small for predators to enter. Once the stitching is complete, other ants inspect the strength of the connection, reinforce weak points, and apply more larval adhesive at critical spots. In just a few hours to a full day, a large nest can be completed. This nest contains multiple chambers used to store eggs, larvae, the queen, food, and resting workers. Weaver ants do not build just one nest. In a large colony, they can construct dozens of nests scattered across various branches, or even extending to neighboring trees. Each nest functions like a module within a vast city. There are food storage buildings, defense outposts, birthing rooms, and transit hubs. If a nest is damaged by wind, rain, or predator attacks, weaver ants quickly relocate its contents to another nest. They can even construct a new nest in a short time as a replacement. Interestingly, a weaver ant nest can be considered alive, as it is made from fresh leaves that are still growing. Over time, those leaves will age, wither, or fall, and when that happens, the weaver ants will abandon the old nest and build a new one. They do not remain idle, for they are nomadic architects, always ready to move for the survival of their colony. A weaver ant colony is a microcosm that at first glance appears to be a whirlwind of frantic activity. They dart about carrying pieces of prey, biting at enemies, or crossing branches with larvae cradled in their jaws. Yet beneath this apparent chaos lies an extraordinary order. Their world is not one of disorder, but a reflection of a highly refined and efficient social organization, a hierarchical system that has endured for millions of years. The weaver ant colony is not merely a group of insects living together, but a kind of small, intricate kingdom. Within this kingdom, every individual has a specific role, carried out without instruction or training. They simply follow instincts encoded deep within their genes, and remarkably, the system functions with flawless efficiency. There are three main castes in the weaver ant colony: the queen, the workers, and the soldiers, each with its own distinct body form, duties, and responsibilities. As with most insects that live in colonies, the queen is the very source of life. She lays countless eggs that will grow into workers, soldiers, or even potential new queens. The weaver ant queen is noticeably larger than ordinary workers, with a large rounded abdomen that serves as the center of egg production. A queen can live for up to 7 years and lay thousands of eggs in a short period of time. In a large colony, there is only one queen. She does not hunt, build nests, or guard territory, yet the entire life of the colony depends on her presence. If the queen dies, the colony can collapse, as there will be no further regeneration. That is why the workers protect her with unwavering dedication, not only as their leader, but as the very foundation of their community's survival. Then there is the worker caste, the driving force of the colony. They are the most numerous caste, numbering in the hundreds of thousands or even more. Worker ants live between 3 to 6 months, far shorter than the queen's reign. They are the backbone of the colony, working daily to carry food, stitch leaves, tend to larvae, and keep the nest clean. They also serve as caretakers for the larvae and assist in attending to the queen. Interestingly, though they appear similar, the workers are quietly divided into specialized task groups. Some are skilled foragers, others focus on building and expanding the nest, and some remain inside to care for the eggs and larvae. Workers are the ones most frequently in contact with the outside world and are the first to confront external threats. Then, there is the soldier caste, the front line of nest defense. Weaver ant soldiers are larger versions of workers, with stronger jaws and heightened defensive instincts. They often guard the nest entrances or position themselves at strategic points on the tree. When faced with a threat, whether it is another insect, a human, or even the vibrations of a branch, these soldiers become instantly alert. One of the most impressive sights is when soldiers form a line along the approach to the nest, raising their heads and opening their jaws like disciplined troops standing at attention. Within seconds, they can bite in unison and release a distinctive scent, a danger signal that spreads rapidly throughout the colony. The primary weapon of the weaver ant is its large, powerful mandibles. These are used to deliver high-pressure bites, hold leaves in place during nest construction, and kill prey or drag larger insects. When biting, weaver ants do not rely solely on their jaws. They also inject formic acid from the rear of their bodies directly into the wound. This combination produces an intense, burning, stinging pain, one that even humans can feel sharply. In certain situations, weaver ants will launch counterattacks against other colonies or predators. These assaults usually occur when the colony is expanding its territory and encounters rivals, or when food is scarce and competitors are nearby. A weaver ant attack is organized, relentless, and painfully effective. Once they bite, they do not immediately let go. Instead, they remain clamped onto the enemy's skin, hanging on with unyielding force. Some ants will bite until their bodies tear apart, maintaining their grip even after death. This is the ultimate act of sacrifice in defense of the colony. Aside from the three main castes, there are moments in the year when the colony produces winged males and new potential queens. They appear only for a short period, emerging to participate in the nuptial flight. The males have a single purpose in life, to mate with young queens, and once their role is fulfilled, they die. The young queens, on the other hand, fly away in search of a suitable location to establish their own colony. Upon finding the right place, they shed their wings and begin building their first small nest. This process is the only way weaver ants can expand their territory and create new colonies. Weaver ants communicate without sound, relying entirely on pheromones and vibrations. Pheromones are chemical compounds produced by their bodies and released into the environment. These act as information signals, detected with precision through their highly sensitive antennae. Each type of pheromone conveys a different message, transmitted quickly, accurately, and on a massive scale. There are at least 5 types of pheromones in weaver ants. The first is the trail pheromone. When an ant finds food, it leaves a chemical trail along its path back to the nest. Other ants detect this scent, follow it, and reinforce it. The more ants that travel the route, the stronger the trail becomes, and the faster the food is collected. The second is the alarm pheromone. If a weaver ant is attacked or feels threatened, it releases this signal from glands in its mandibles or its anus. This summons nearby ants to the site, ready to assist or defend the nest. The third is the aggregation pheromone, which is used to gather ants in a single location. For example, during the construction of a new nest. This signal draws individuals from all corners of the colony to assemble and work together. The fourth is the sexual pheromone, released by young queens and males during the breeding season. It attracts mates from other colonies and triggers the nuptial flight. Finally, there is the colony identity pheromone. This means that every colony has its own unique scent, crucial for distinguishing members from outsiders. If a foreign ant tries to enter without the correct scent, it will be attacked immediately. In addition to pheromones, weaver ants also use vibrations and touch to communicate. This is known as stridulation, producing sound or vibration by rubbing specific body parts together. Though inaudible to humans, these vibrations can be felt by other ants through the substrate, such as the branch or leaf they stand on. Weaver ants also use physical contact, tapping heads, gentle bites, or touching antennae to send signals. All of this forms part of their silent yet highly effective communication system. This is one of the wonders of weaver ants. They create complexity without chaos. There is no leader giving verbal commands, no hierarchy issuing orders aloud, yet everything functions like a perfectly synchronized orchestra. Scientists call this phenomenon emergent behavior, patterns arising from the interaction of many individuals without centralized control. Field studies show that in just 1 hour, a single colony of weaver ants can coordinate food gathering within a 10-meter radius, mobilize hundreds of soldiers to a threat, relocate dozens of larvae to a new nest, and abandon a foraging route when the food source is depleted, all based solely on the weakening intensity of pheromone trails. They accomplish all of this without sound, without meetings, and without any central command. Artificial intelligence and swarm robotics experts have studied the WEAVER ants communication system to apply it to groups of small robots, such as drones for disaster victim search, or autonomous cleaning robots that avoid each other and share tasks. This system has also been adapted for logistics and computer networks, inspiring routing algorithms that mimic pheromone trails to find the fastest path. WEAVER ants are not only diligent leaf stitchers and master nest builders, they are also vital players in tropical ecosystems. In a world invisible to most human eyes, they fulfill multiple roles: guardians of trees, pest hunters, seed dispersers, and even a link in the food chain for other animals. One of the WEAVER ants' greatest contributions to the environment is their ability to act as natural pest controllers. They protect trees from pest attacks without the use of pesticides or chemicals. As active predators, WEAVER ants will attack caterpillars, small crickets, aphids, young grasshoppers, and other insects that try to feed on the leaves where their nests are built. They will never allow the foliage they inhabit to be eaten without a fight. The moment vibrations or signals from another insect's bite are detected, worker and soldier ants immediately rush out, moving across the leaves to swarm the intruder. Research in Malaysia has shown that fruit trees, such as mango and cacao, inhabited by WEAVER ants, suffer far less leaf damage than trees without them, and their harvest yields are significantly higher. Although they are renowned as predators, they also maintain a mutualistic relationship with certain small insects, such as aphids and leafhoppers. These insects produce a sweet liquid known as honeydew, which is a byproduct of their feeding. WEAVER ants tend to and protect these insects from other predators, and in return, they receive honeydew as a rich and valuable food source. In such cooperative ecosystems, this interaction illustrates a form of interspecies dependence that is mutually beneficial, although for farmers it can sometimes be a dilemma, since aphids themselves can be considered pests. By preying on small insects and controlling pest populations, WEAVER ants help trees remain healthy, which in turn provides habitat for birds, reptiles, and other wildlife. In other words, the presence of WEAVER ants on a tree can help maintain the integrity of the entire food chain. Leaves continue to grow healthy, pest insects are reduced, natural prey for birds and reptiles remains available, and vegetation keeps thriving. This chain is especially crucial in the dense and highly competitive environment of tropical forests. Several studies also show that WEAVER ants participate in the dispersal of certain plant seeds. Some seeds have a small structure called an elaeosome, a lipid-rich appendage that attracts ants. The ants carry these seeds back to their nests, consume the elaeosome, and then discard the remaining seed in a different location from where it was collected. Although not all WEAVER ants display this behavior, it has been observed at times in the tropical forests of Southeast Asia. The result is a natural form of vegetation dispersal without the aid of wind or larger animals. Moreover, although they are skilled predators, WEAVER ants are also a food source for many animals. In this way, they serve as a vital link in the food web, transferring energy to higher trophic levels.